Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is USA Today bestselling dark fantasy author Katherine D. Graham for another indie author behind the scenes tip and trick for other writers who are wanting to self-publish their books. Today we're going to be talking about how to create a pre-order in Draft to Digital as of January 2023. This is not going to be an overview of Draft to Digital in general, so if you would like to see my other Draft to Digital videos, please check out the links in the description box. Otherwise, if you're ready to get set with your pre-order on Draft to Digital, we can go ahead and get started. Share my screen for you right here. This is the Draft to Digital homepage. You will need to log in first. If you've already got an account, you just click My Books once you logged in, this big red button. If you do not have an account, you can create an account to see that. And once here, you should see the books that you already have published through Draft to Digital. Start your pre-order, you'll click Add New Book, which is the orange button at the top, and you'll do either ebook, or if you've been accepted into the paperback beta, you'll click print book. I have never done a print book. I cannot answer whether or not they allow print book pre-orders. That's something I'm going to have to look into because I've only recently been accepted into the beta. So today we're going to be doing pre-orders for ebooks only. So we're going to click the Start ebook blue button on the left. And you can either check that you don't or do have cover art. I highly recommend cover art before you schedule your pre-order. Even if that's a black cover reveal coming, disclaimer on the bottom, placeholder, having something there means readers are more likely to actually pre-order your book. But that's just a side tip. You can check that if you don't have that. But you need to note the fine print here. If you don't have the art, you have to have it more than 10 days in advance. So don't be waiting till the last second or your pre-order is going to cancel and not go through. So you click I have front cover art if you already have it. The dimensions are here, but you can also just tell your designer the dimensions and they can make sure it works. Click Browse. Find your series. Here we go. Today we're uploading Chronicler of War, which is the 4th volume in my Lord's Gambit series, coming out in, oh my goodness, April. So there you see, here it is on the left-hand side. If there's any errors, it'll pop up with a little red banner. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. You're going to type in your title. And one thing that you will want to notice is that there is not a place for a subtitle here. There's no separate box. So if you've done book pre-orders through Amazon or Barnes & Noble in the past, you know that there's usually a separate subtitle box. In this case, you'll want to put the subtitle in with your book. So, Lord's Gambit series, volume 4. You should load your series. So you see there's several series here that I've worked with. Not all of them are mine and not all of them are published, but you can go down here, find the series, the Lord's Gambit series. If you don't have one, as you saw, you just click Add New and fill it out. Publisher should default to you unless you add another. And again, you can click the arrow and click default. And then prioritized author names. So if you have an LLC or you've got a registered imprint for your publisher, you can definitely put that here under publisher. You will still get all the royalties. It just shows the correct publisher. If you work with a small press and you have lots of other authors that you publish for, you can also add authors under the author name. Otherwise, the prioritized author name, the default author, in this case me, would go first. Your language, if not English. There are a lot of languages here. Way more languages than you even get in some like KDP functionality. Like I can even do Japanese in here, where I don't think KDP supports Japanese kanji right now. At least not that I've checked recently. This is volume number 4. Here are your search terms. Search terms in Draft to Digital world are your keywords in other fields. So Barnes & Noble and Amazon will have 7 keyword slots, On Draft to Digital, you can actually have, I think, up to 10. It says unlimited number of keywords, but not all vendors can take them. Amazon only takes 7. So I typically limit it to that. I've gotten a lot of questions from people asking, do you have to have a special keyword tool? And the answer is no, they do not care where you get your keywords from or if you pluck them out of the sky, but you do have to find keywords that are relevant for your book. And for this, I will say I'm not being sponsored in any way by Publisher Rocket, but I use Publisher Rocket for my keyword research, looking for keywords that get a good number of searches, that don't have a high number of competitors, and that have a decent number of monthly sales. So the prioritized one will be first. The order you put them in is the order they will be listed. So here, for example, I could say dark fantasy books for adults, but I'm just going to say dark fantasy books. You can come back in and change these search terms anytime. You're not locked into these for life. So if you mess up, that's okay. Books with female main characters. I've already done my research. I have a little list here on the side if you're wondering, but I'm not pulling these out of the air. Characters with teal hair. 1001 Night retellings. And the list goes on and on. Books by female authors. Adult epic fantasy books. And then mythological fantasy books. Now, typically, if you're on Amazon or another platform, you don't have to put the title in your keywords because that's already a search feature for the algorithm. You don't have to put your name. You don't have to put your category. So unless that's just a high grossing keyword, I would not double mention any of those things. You also cannot do anything that's misleading, or the book could get rejected by the retailer and you have to come back in and change those things. I'll do a separate video on keywords, so I won't get into that in too much detail here, but just know that you can't put things like pricing, other retailers, bestseller status, things like that. Or during the audits, sometimes it will get kicked back out. And if you put in somebody else's book here and it's not related to their book, it could be considered false targeting, and to make readers happy by not serving them false ads. That's not usually allowed on a lot of distributors. However, you can target those books and keywords on your ads, just not in the metadata, which is what this is considered. So we got our keywords, our cover art, book title, language, series, etc., etc. So now we're going to scroll down here. My book does not contain content inappropriate for minors. My book contains content that is inappropriate for minors. I write dark, epic fantasy. It is dark for a reason. It is read at your own risk, and it is for adults. It is not for young readers. Don't feel bad. This option was recently added with the creation of Smashwords. And I'm actually going to take the series name off here because I believe that this puts the series volume 4 for me. Let's scroll down. All right, so then we have to get to our BICACSs. Basically, this is the category that shoppers are going to browse for. They're the same across every distributor. You're going to scroll down. You're going to go to fiction, in my case, fantasy and mythology. So my number one category is fairy tales, folk tales, and legends for this specific series. This specific book is actually sort of a reimagining of Greek mythology meets 1001 Nights. And then you have you can press these little plus boxes here to expand fantasy. You have many genres. You can only pick 2 for Amazon. You can pick 5 for draft to digital, but all 5 will not go to Amazon, and they will be prioritized in the order you pick them. So Myths and Legends are first, followed by Dark Fantasy second, followed by Epic Fantasy third, because Epic will never hit Amazon, but I could put Epic in my keywords so that it would. You can do other things like Arthurian, Gaslamp, paranormal, romantic. There's no romance in this specific book. There are in a couple other books in the series. Friendship, feminist, historical, etc., etc., etc. Just all these different categories that you can pick from. Yeah. Coming of age, comics, graphic novels, dystopian. And if your niche genre isn't there, pick the one closest to it. These are not customizable on any platform as of January 2023, whether that's Kindle or Barnes & Noble or Draft to Digital or something else. All right, now that we've got our metadata filled out, we're going to click Start eBook. Here we are. So this part, because it doesn't say this, was a little confusing when I first did this. You do not need a final manuscript yet in order to upload a pre-order. You will have to upload it, though, 10 days or more before the book comes out, or the release will cancel. You don't get dinged unless you have releases on Amazon, but you have to have the file. So set your calendars for reminders, and more reminders. So we're going to set our release date, book 4. So book 3 is coming out March 14th. And book 4 is coming out April 11th, 2023. And then you're going to want to paste your description, blurb, whatever else you would like to call it. And I've actually got mine pulled up in a little document here. So I'm just going to copy this really fast. This should be essentially your back cover blurb. This is what's going to sell your book. It should not be your complete synopsis. And it also should not just be a single sentence tagline. So when you paste it in, obviously the formatting goes away. You're going to have to do a little bit of formatting. For example, I like to make my top lines bold, and then my subheaders italics, and then basically just make sure that I space out where my paragraphs were. Now, if you have paragraphs and you have a blurb in another document, it can make it so helpful just to have both screens up at the same time, so that you can look through everything. There we go. And then once you finish all your formatting, sorry, I'm really doing this for real, not just for you guys. So this is really going to be what's on the book in just a second when the pre-order goes live. All right. Once you finish all that you have to put there, you get a short optional ebook description. This is going to be on primarily Smashwords. I'm not going to put one in yet. I'm going to come back in and add this a little later because it's taken me almost a week to come up with the long description, but you only have a very, very short 1 to 2 sentence max, not run-on sentence, 1 to 2 regular sentences, 7 to 10 words each, so about 15 to 20 words about what the book is about. That is your elevator pitch. If it's a collection like a book box or omnibus, you check mark. If not, you don't. You can add paid collaborators if you're organizing for a box set here. You can add non-author contributors like editors, illustrators, etc. here, neither of which I have for this book. I do have editors, but not contributors. And then I want to use either my own ebook ISBN, which if you're in the US, you can buy through Bowker. If you are not in the US, your country should have its own licensed, registered ISBN retailer. Don't get sucked into the scam traps that promise you dirt cheap ISBNs. learn from my experience, that's for a separate video. Or because it's ebook only, you can click to give you a free draft to digital ISBN. The only additional point I'm going to put on here is that an ISBN does not give rights to the person who owns it. It lists them as your seller, or in this case, your distributor. So if I publish through Draft to Digital and I put their ISBN on the bottom page of Kobo or Apple Books or Barnes & Noble, you're going to see sold by Draft to Digital, versus if I had used my own ISBN and it would have been whatever publisher was registered to that imprint in Bowker. So I'm going to use the free ISBN for this one. But if it's a print book, I always invest in just buying my own ISBNs. Because if I ever take this book down off Draft to Digital, I'll have to go find my own ISBN and republish under that and change all of that. So you leave the final manuscript file blank. You make sure your date is correct. Double and triple check this so you don't mess it up. Put in your long blurb. If you have a short pitch, put it here. It says 50 to 400 characters long, by the way, on the short pitch. No email addresses, hyperlinks, prices, or promotions. Then you're going to click Save and Continue. All right. It asks you if you're looking to edit your cover. I'm just going to save and continue past this. There's no interior file. If you have not formatted your file, this is another question that I've had pop up about Draft to Digital. Your file will need to be formatted. Whatever version you put in, unless you take advantage of their formatting tool, which they have, you will be required to publish your book in. So if you put it in Microsoft Word and it doesn't have drop caps and it doesn't have spaces and all the things run together, that's how it's going to look on the reader's tablet as well, or phone, or whatever they're reading on. I personally use a Fiverr seller called Michael Davey, M. Davey Formatter, to do all of my formatting. He's very affordable, usually 30 to 60 bucks, depending on the length of the book. US, and I write epic fantasy, so that's like 50,000 to 100,000 words. And all I do is download the files he gives me and upload them straight into here when they're ready. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to put my price. This is the fourth book in the series. It's going to be a little higher than my other books, where book 1 right now is 99 cents, book 2 is $2.99, book 3 is $3.99, book 4 is $4.99. I'm probably going to cap out here at $5.99 and not charge any more than that for my future books. So don't hold me to that, though, because if pricing changes and I have to do what I have to do. But one thing that you get to pick on Draft to Digital, and one of the biggest pros to using it, is it lists your book on multiple platforms at one time. No more going to Barnes & Noble and then going to Kobo and then going to Apple and then going to Amazon, and each one has a slightly different cover size and a slightly different text size and a slightly different file size. You can do it all from here with one click, except for Amazon, which you have to have the file for before you can set up their pre-order. So $5.99 is the US dollar price. If you, like me, have a lot of international readers and you want to manage your territory pricing, you can click Manage Territorial Prices, and it will say, here's what we suggest, and you can check mark to change those prices. So I don't want my Australian and Canadian readers to be charged $5.99. Now there is something I'm about to show you here, where some markets don't allow you to charge under a certain amount. So if I try to do $5.99 in Mexico, it will say it has to be $11.99 or greater, and that's because the platforms that are carrying it won't list it less than that. So in those places, I just listed it whatever the cheapest is, and it's up to you as an author to decide whether that's how you want to continue doing your business or not. If there's one you want to keep, you can just keep it gray. You don't have to change it. So I'm going to keep the euro $5.99. Change that to $7.99 because of the orange banner. And just know that sometimes if you mark it way down in places where the currency has a weaker value compared to the US dollar, you're going to lose on your royalties, but it'll be more affordable to readers. So that's a decision you personally have to make. Once you've changed all your prices and they look the way you want them to look, you're going to click Apply Territories. And then you're going to scroll down through here and check mark each place you want the pre-order to go to. So I want it on Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Apple, Tolino, Biblio, and Smashwords. Amazon can't have it yet because I didn't upload the file. So once I upload the interior file, I can change this red or this grayed out box to a check and it would put it there. But I still will not do that for Amazon specifically. I will come down there and do that for Scribd down here for the subscription services. But I always publish my Amazon books separately through KDP because I personally like having all of my reporting and Amazon things in its own unique place. That is a personal decision. I'm not saying Draft to Digital can't handle Amazon. It just makes it more convenient. But I use everything else that they'll give me the option for through there. And I make mine available to all territories across Kobo as well. The orange exclamation mark will tell you when something needs to be changed in order for you to publish there. So for example, you need to have an interior file in order to put it up on Scribd. Scrolling down here, you also have an option to put in a library price. Now, once you set the library price, you don't always get to change the library price whenever you want. This is how much the library price is per copy. They recommend 2 to 3 times your book. Because I used to work at a library and I love libraries and I would honestly give them my book for absolutely free if I could, I'm going to actually just list it at regular price. I'm not going to charge them extra. And yeah, let him go with that. Most of your library sites are going to require you to have the book first because they want to know you're going to have it before they agree to sell it to librarians. And know that just because they're on Overdrive or on Baker & Taylor does not mean your local library will have it. It means that most of your readers at the library, if they go request it and they get whatever their system's number of requests is, I've heard 7 is the magic number from some guest librarians on the channel before, then the system will automatically order it from their default place. Some of that is manually ordered. But whatever the case, this makes it available for libraries to order, but then the library has to go actively order them. If you'd like to remember the store preferences in the future, you can have this box checked, which would basically have it preset for you. Otherwise, leave it unchecked and click Submit. You're going to say whether or not you're the original creator or if you're a publisher, whether you've secured the legal rights, or if the book is in the public domain and you're just publishing it yourself because maybe it's not on ebook or something. Just double check that it's on public domain for every single territory you're going to list and not just yours. A good example is how certain books by J.R.R. Tolkien are no longer copyrighted in certain parts of the world, but they are still very much copyrighted in other countries. So you have to wait for all of those rights to go in the public domain, not just 1 or 2. All right. You're going to confirm that you have all the rights, and you should always read the terms of service before you check because they have some really important things in there, like payment terms and stuff like that. I have already read them. This is not my first book, so I'm not going to click through here. I just uploaded a book here 2 weeks ago, but if you wait 6 months to a year, probably should refresh. And then click Publish My Book. And this only takes a second. It's thinking. You can see I've got my little red mark. And it says, ebook success. Chronicler of War has been successfully submitted and is currently being published to the retailers you selected. And it gives me the option to start on the print project, which I'm not going to start yet. And audiobooks with Findaway Voices, which I've never done either. This is actually my first time seeing that. So I'll have to look into that. If you're an author and you've used them, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So now I'm going to close because there's a couple important things that I'm going to point out briefly and then I'll hop off. The first is that you should see your ebook price here in blue once you create your book. And you'll also see a publishing status on the right hand side. This will show you the date you submitted it to be published on these platforms. Once they're actually published, let me go back to my books very quickly and I'll pull one up for you so that you can see. Here we go. Monk of Death comes out February 14th, so this one has already pretty much been published everywhere it's going to go. That publishing marker changes to available for pre-order, and it shows you all the different places, and you can click on the little arrows to take you to the product on those pages. So you should also get an email from Draft to Digital that tells you when your book has been accepted by the different sites. Now, once you have your book, your pre-order essentially is now in the process of publishing. Once it publishes, you'll be able to come over here and click promotion and edit your universal buy link, which right now is right here, just some random numbers, and put your own personal link there. I will put a link in the description box to how to customize your universal buy link on Books to Read through Draft to Digital. It's a video that I released earlier this month, or late 2022. It's all running together. But you can do sales through promotion as well. You can do a new price here. So you're pretty much set to go. And at this point, all you have to do is finish your book. And when you're ready to upload the interior file, you'll go back to the details tab and you'll finish the file uploading and save. And that's it. So that's how you upload a book to Draft to Digital for pre-order. And again, that's ebook. Thank you so much for sticking with me. If you have any questions or comments at all, or you found tools or tips to make this a quicker process, please feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll be happy to either share them in future videos or answer them in future videos and answer them in the chat. And subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see future videos. I have more coming for the rest of 2023. Good luck with your publishing. Bye, everybody.